on NewsX World. Now we move on next. And China is set to join a Brazil-led coalition to connect carbon markets across major economies. This is one of the initiatives to be adopted at the COP30 in Belém on November the 7th. The Open Coalition for the Integration of Carbon Markets, developed by Brazil's Ministry of Finance, aims to align standards and make trading carbon credits easier between nations. Alongside China, the European Union, Canada, Chile, the United Kingdom, Armenia and Zambia are expected to participate. Brazil says the voluntary partnership will boost transparency and liquidity, helping members meet goals while directing parts of the proceeds to clean energy and climate adaptation projects. Finance officials call the plan a key legacy of COP30 and a practical step towards a unified global carbon market that balances growth, inclusion and environmental protection. Joining us now is Sankalp Suman, the Chief Climate Strategist. He joins us live from Upandishad Consulting in Tokyo, Japan. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here on the program. Now, the Open Coalition for the Integration of Carbon Markets is one of the key proposals of Brazil's tenure as the chair of the UN Climate Change Conference. How should we view China's acceptance of the proposal, Sankalp?
So this is very interesting actually, because this comes at the background of Washington coming out of the Paris Agreement, and now it seems that Beijing is taking the forefront in driving the climate conversation. So far, this coalition has only had Western powers. UK has been part of it, EU has been part of it, Canada, Brazil is of course leading it. But with China, which is also the world's largest emitter, which is almost 30% of more than 30% in fact of global emissions come out of China, this is a big move, and this will signal it. This will send a signal to other nations also, like India and Indonesia, Malaysia, who are also large emitters, that this is a coalition. This is the coalition that they should be at.
Yes, and can you explain to our viewers, Sankalp, how the carbon credit markets operate?
Right. So carbon credits is a very simple concept because it's global warming. It means that anyone can emit anywhere and anyone can save carbon anywhere, because it would net it affects the whole atmosphere. So what carbon credits does is, companies that are not able to reduce their carbon emissions, they pay someone else to buy carbon credits. The person that is selling carbon credits basically reduces is reducing the carbon from atmosphere. For example, a Google would pay a farmer in India to use organic farming in their fields, which would reduce their carbon footprint. But the farmer cannot claim that as his own reduction, because he would have sold those rights to Google. And that's how the carbon markets work. Particularly in Paris Agreement, there is an Article 6 which governs this whole mechanism, in which developed countries buy carbon credits essentially from developing countries. There's Article 6.2 in which countries' NDCs are covered, and then 6.4 where voluntary carbon credits also are traded.
Yes, and Sankalp, Brazil's finance ministry has stated that a key goal of this coalition is to make systems compatible, increase liquidity and also, of course, transparency to help members meet their Paris Agreement targets. How do you envision this working out?
This is actually very important because, when we talk about the global carbon markets, the language is usually not the same in different countries. EU has certain priorities, China has certain priorities. Even the prices of the carbon credits, in China it's $10, in EU it's $100. So there's a huge variation that happens. So while linking all of these markets together, of course China's prices would go up. That would affect their heavy industries, but it would also lead for more finance flowing towards tropical forest conservation in Brazil. So these markets, once they integrate, it creates a net common language for all of these economies to continue. Otherwise, right now there's a very fractured carbon market where two countries do not agree on the same standard, they don't agree on the same formulas to calculate carbon credits, and therefore the finance is mostly stuck. It's not able to flow, or where it flows, there's not the same kind of transparency rules that apply to them, and therefore a lot of double counting and other things happen.
Yes, thank you very much, Sankalp Suman, for joining us here on NewsX World.